Alright, this is Mr. Liao, and I'm going to show you how to do some basic linear regression on the TI-83 or 84 calculator. I'm using a TI-84 Plus Color Silver Edition, but if you have an 83 or 84 without the color, it'll work pretty similarly. The first thing you're going to want to do is press Mode, if you have an 84 or 84 color, and make sure your stat diagnostics are turned on. Now, if you have a TI-83, you won't be able to do that, so what we're going to do instead, you're going to go to Second, Catalog, and you are going to scroll down to Diagnostic On, and you're going to press Enter twice. What that does is it will display the value of R, the correlation coefficient. Now we're going to do the scatter plot for example 1, the VCR VHS tapes example. So you're going to put the data into L1 and L2. I put the VCR households in L1, the X variable. I put the VHS tapes sold into L2, the Y variable. I've already entered those in. You can do that now if you haven't already. Now to do a scatter plot, you're going to press Second and then Scat Plot, and we're going to use plot 1. So turn on plot 1, make sure the other two are off, and select the first icon. You can move it by going left and right in your cursors. The first one is a scatter plot. We're going to use L1 for the X list, L2 for the Y list. Let's leave everything else the same. Now to graph, you're not going to actually press the graph button. You're going to press Zoom and then number 9 for Zoom Stat, and that gives you the scatter plot. Now you can see this is a pretty strong linear positive relationship. If you press Trace, you can see the coordinates on your scatter plot. Alright, now let's do some linear regression. So for the benefit of those using a TI-83, I've turned stat plots off. So we're going to go to Stat, the Calc menu, and you will see two options for linreg. Number 4, which is AX plus B. This will give you the information in classic slope-intercept form. I'm going to use number 8, which is what I've taught in this class, A plus BX, because this is what most stat books teaches. So in this case, A is the y-intercept, B is the slope. Okay, so again, for number 8, A is the y-intercept, B is the slope. Now you can use 4, just keep straight which letter is which and you'll be fine. Alright, so let's select linreg A plus BX. If you have a TI-83, you're going to have to put these in manually. So you can do L1, which represents the X list, comma, L2. Hit Enter, and what it does is it gives you A, in this case the value of the y-intercept, B, the value of the slope, and the R value, which is 0.993. Now A represents the intercept, which means if X were 0, negative 15 is Y, which means if there are no homes that own any VCRs, we would expect to sell negative 15 million tapes. That obviously doesn't make any sense in this context. B represents the slope. To interpret that, you would say, for each additional million households with a VCR, we would predict that 2.83 additional VHS tapes would be sold. And of course, the R value of 0.993 suggests a very strong positive correlation between the two variables. Now, what you can do now is calculate the equation, the value of y for any predicted value of x. So I'm going to show you the harder way to do it. So first you're going to go to VARs and Statistics, go to the EQ menu, and these are basically various variables. So I'm going to put in A, and let's say I want to know how many videotapes would I expect to sell if 20 million households owned a VCR. So A is the intercept plus, let's go back to VARs, Statistics, EQ, and B times 20, because that's the value I'm going to plug in for X. So I get 41.3. So if there were 20 million households with a VCR, we would predict that 41.33 million tapes would be sold. Now here's the other way to do it. Let's go back to linreg, and for the benefit of those using stat wizards, I'm going to turn it on now, and you'll see what it looks like. So let's go to Stat, Calc, and I'm going to use number 8 again. So X list is L1, Y list is L2. Store regression equation, I'm going to use Y1. So to get Y1, press alpha F4, and you'll see this menu of Y bars. So press Y1, and what this does is it will store the linear equation into Y1. Calculate, and what you'll see is a value for A, B, R squared, and R. Now if you had a TI-83, after the L1 comma L2, you would just add comma Y1. Now what this does is it gives you the regression line. So now you can see the scatter plot, and now there's the best fit line that goes through it. The last thing that this helps is, now let's say again, I wanted to predict how many videotapes I would sell if 20 million households owned a VCR. So let's go to alpha F4, and we bring up Y1, and I'm going to put in parentheses 20. That would be the X value I'm going to plug into this equation, and that gives me the same answer I got when I did it the longer way. All right, if you have a different calculator, check one of my other videos to see how it's done or ask me during class.